Welcome to Coaching Minutiae. I'm your host, Nic Carothers, and I'm very blessed to be joined with the legend. We like to call him the OG, Coach Kevin Merriweather. Welcome, Coach.
Hey, how you doing,
Oh
sir?
man, welcome. Man, excited to have you.
I'm
It's
good.
not very often to get to sit in your presence. You know what I mean? Talk the game with you. Out of everybody that I've had on the show, I've had the honor of coming behind you into a program that you built from the ground up. When I was at Tinley,
Timmy.
tremendous success there, playing the toughest competition in the state. Multiple college athletes from there, not just from his school, but from your AAU program, the family as well. I mean, a great history of basketball here in Indiana. So, Coach, how are you, man? How's things
I'm
going?
good. I'm good. Just winding down. You go from you're talking about 41 years, which seems to be, even as you drive around, you think about 41. Everything's a big 41 now. I went to school 41. They talk about LeBron James 41 years. I've been doing this 41 years, and I don't know. You just what I mean. You just winding down now.
Yeah, well, I'm excited
Yeah.
to see what you have planned next. I mean, because I think you still got something in the tank to coach if you want to.
Yeah, the oldest daughter, is the head coach, University of Cincinnati, and she said, "Daddy, you still have relevance, but you try to find out where do you fit in now." And so I've never, believe this or not, the coaching title was given to me by one of my players, D. Davis, who's the head coach at Princeton High School in Cincinnati.
Okay.
She just started calling me coach. And so, like every shirt I had, back of it, front of it, just said coach. That was the name. So it's never been a title.
Yeah.
Pretty much like the family was never meant to be, wasn't meant to instill anything in basketball. It was what it was meant to be. It's the family is what I thought was missing in our culture, where we looked after each other, and a parent down the street could discipline you, and you got two of them because you embarrassed your parent at home.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's always about looking after one another, and so that's what the family's about. I didn't find out till later in a tournament in Ohio where someone asked me, was I from Chicago, Gary area?
Okay.
Well, I said no. They said, wow, so that was one of the most ruthless gangs in the times back there. So I actually looked it up, and it was back in the time in the late 60s. And, a lot of them, they had created an organization called the Family. And but even then, the basis of that was about relationships,
Yeah.
and looking after each other. It's no different than a fraternity, sorority, or anything else, to where you look after each other. So that's all.
Well, I know that you've had multiple star players come from your programs, but let's go back to the word family, because I had the opportunity to sit in your daughter Brina's practice last summer, and she was so gracious. She was so welcoming. She sat with us and directed traffic. I mean, she had the program running so well that you could tell if she wasn't present, it was still a fine oil machine.
Yeah.
And she sat with us and she explained things for us. We talked through stuff. She had them rerun stuff so we could kind of write it down. And oh man, it was an experience that I haven't had in another gym before, where the head coach take out of her time to come and sit and say, "Hey, what do you need to see?" And that I mean, hats off to Coach and her staff and you. I mean, you coached them. You brought them up. You know what I mean?
Well, like I said, sometimes I always say coaching is overrated. My degree is science and biology and chemistry, and I never got to. I went from Lily's told me I went from underqualified to overqualified on graduation day. And sometimes you say that sometimes at that decision, things happen for a reason. So yeah, I wanted to do. Who knows? I may, And so what I use the degree for is in the game of in coaching, is analyzing, breaking down, seeing how to counteract what somebody does. But in order to do those things, you still got to have players who can do what you want them to do.
Oh yeah, you definitely do.
So we laugh about. I never have used a board. I don't use a coaching board,
Okay.
and so everything is verbal. And I even as a teacher, my principal would say to me, you don't put anything on, you don't write much on the board or anything like that. And so I laugh and tell them the reason I don't use a board in a game, because you got 30 to 45 seconds to write on this board, and you want these kids to be able to look down. I said, they don't even know how to read the board where I put it in class. So how they gonna do one how they gonna do it in the game? And then they look at each other. And I had an instance one time. I played, and one time a coach ended the game, drew up a play. There's 5 players. He put one player in 3 positions, and we looked at each other and went like, "Really?" It didn't work. So,
Right.
but
Right.
so that's always my story about a board. And T's Boo Williams, who was one of my mentors at AAU and things, and Boo had this big old board. And one time I saw my daughter with a board. I said, "Oh, you took after your Uncle Boo. You got that big. Where you come from?" But no, I am very proud of what they are doing now. And again, it wasn't meant to be. I had daughters. Most people, guys, will have their sons.
Mm-hmm.
And I was actually my father was an agent at the time for NBA players, and so I was working with him and Dr. Tucker, and they at one time they had 7 NBA All Stars.
Wow. At one time.
At one time, you talking about George Gervin, Magic Johnson, Isaiah Thomas, Mark Aguirre, Dominique Wilkins.
The hands all over history.
Yeah. And so I spent most of my early years with them in the mid '80s to the Bedford. So I was assigned a player, William Bedford, 7'1" player out of Memphis, and I just my job was to make sure that everything he did, and he had to focus on basketball, and like I said, those things happen. But anyway, going back to you talking about Trina and Brina, the youngest ones, they're with her.
You got both babies there. Yeah.
They're supposed they're just doing what they were taught, and I don't even we talk about training, all these different things. I don't like to use the word training because you train animals. So I call it. I always want to say I teach.
You need to say that again. We need to say that again because we got a lot of families that's going to training, or leaving practice early to go to training.
I got a little sister that told, younger sister who's been in education, one of the better educators in the state of Indiana, or in the country really. And I used to have a whistle all the time. And the first time I went to work in her school, I blew a whistle. She said, "Oh no, you don't blow no whistles at my kids. Ain't no animals running around here." And that's how I got their attention. As a coach, you got a whistle. I kept a whistle with me all the time. Blow it at my players get married at the end of the wedding. I blew the whistle. They go like, "He got his whistle. Here he go." but no, I just and to go back to that again. The teaching versus training, so they're the same. I look at them as one and the same, just like teaching and coaching, one and the same.
Yeah.
But the thing about it with Trina and Brina both is the teaching part.
Mm-hmm.
And they are great teachers.
Yeah.
I have had people in my program. There's a couple of guys, and I dropped their name in David Barlow and Jamel Owens. When people ask me, like, they are great team coaches. Like, I think a coach is a coach. Like, they like the X and O's, and they do a great job with players and teams. One time, David Barlow we've known each other, played against each other 50 years. And we had teams that when his daughter played, who was on Trina's staff, and we had Amber Harris and Jashia Phillips and Skylar Dickens and all of them. And so we split the team up one time because we had really good players. And I chose which one of us coached those teams. And the team that I felt needed more coaching, I gave to Barlow. I took the team that I could turn loose. Yeah. And they coached and they played. Yeah. And they could play. And that was kids I had from Chicago,
Yeah, that's where I'm
Ashley
from.
Brett.
That's where
Yeah,
I'm
well, you
born
know,
and raised.
Lateria
Yeah.
Easton, the point guard at LSU.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And Jaja Gray
Yep.
and
The guys get
Ashley
more
Brown.
clout in the
Yeah, well,
basketball than the
and
ladies do in
I know all
Chicago.
those guys up here. I know Mac. I know Mac. I know X. I know, with the site, man. I mean, so all the Chicago clubs, I've got great relationships with them, and I always tease them. I go like, y'all don't like each other, but y'all like me, so I'm good. I don't know why y'all like. I said, well, we got the same thing in Indiana.
But they compete for the same kids.
Yeah,
They compete for the same kids.
They do. But so like I said, it's really and when you talk about the family, it's about teaching life lessons through basketball.
Yeah.
I use the game as a vehicle.
Yeah.
To get kids to school. I always correct myself. You quick to say, I put this kid in school, I put that kid in school. They put themselves in school.
Yeah.
It's the kids. You don't do anything.
They accepted the discipline you were giving them. They accepted the teaching that you were giving them and applied it to their life.
Yeah. And everything you need to be successful in life, you need to be successful in this court. And and you go back to education, and you always tell kids, do your individual work. Don't do your work. Can't cheat. Don't copy. Don't do this. Don't do that.
Yep.
But you know what? When you get in life, you need a team.
Yeah.
So all these kids have been taught to be individuals. Then all of a sudden, now you get put in a team atmosphere, and you don't know how to handle being a part of a team.
It's funny you say that everybody needs somebody to help them along the way, because I just got an opportunity to do another episode of the podcast with former Butler assistant coach Kristen Woolridge, and she's a believer like I'm a believer, like you're a believer, and we talked about even Jesus needed help carrying his cross.
Yeah.
The Romans pulled Simon off the side and said, help him carry his cross to Calvary. So if the Lord and Savior needed help, then you're going to need a team to help you too, whether it's on the court or off the court, to get where you want to go. And I think the discipline that we try to give these players and the teamwork that we try to instill into them will take them much further, like you said, than basketball.
Well, and if you tell, and I tell everybody's talking to me. The thing, what I say here now, I've said to everybody, hundreds of times. And I always lead off and tell a player needs a team. A team doesn't need a player.
Yeah.
If you're a great player and don't have 4 other players on the court with you, you can't play.
Hello.
Like, nobody will see you play. And if you have a team and one player wants to act up and think they're bigger than the team, let them go. Because now it gives you another player a chance to step up. If you do have somebody that, and it's just really, I don't know. It's just difficult, and times have changed. You're talking about 41 years.
Yeah.
And, I've been blessed. Over 500 players have gone to college with most of them Division I scholarships. We're talking about probably, that first group, we're talking 95% of them went to Division I schools. And even that has changed now, because with NIL and jumping into that and the transfer portal, Division I is not that big of a deal anymore.
No, it's not.
Because now everybody, you can go to 4 schools in 4 years.
Yes.
So,
and you can get paid at a lower level too.
Yeah, but but that's it again. We don't even have enough time to go into all that. But
get into the high school NIL that's coming to Indiana.
But the thing is though that schools are worried now even about offers. Everybody gets caught up on all these offers. I told somebody one time, I wish every kid would accept every offer they got. If there's a school that gives out 10 offers and they already got 10 players on their team, what would they do if all 10 players at the same time say, we're coming?
Yes.
What would that coach do?
Yeah.
And so
we call them ghost offers. Yeah. It's an offer just to be in the mix.
Well, or the fact is everybody wants to collect offers. You can only take one.
Right.
You can only take one offer.
Yeah.
So if you get 100 offers, there's 99 of them left on the table that now go to everybody else.
Yeah.
But now you got to be careful too, because I would always tell my kids when you were recruited or you get say you have to choose between 5 schools.
Right.
Then watch the reaction of the coach who you told no to. Some of them will dismiss you, treat you bad.
Yes.
Other ones will say, look for the one that says, hey, if things don't work out, we check with us again.
Yeah.
Because now with the transfer portal, that's for real.
That's a real opportunity.
Yeah, because you go to school the first year, you don't like it. you want to go back to there was who the second choice was may still want you.
Over 1,300 young women were
Oh,
in the transfer portal this year.
was the last time you checked?
Last time I saw it reported,
Yeah.
and over 2,000 guys in that portal.
And there's only 2,700 colleges that they can give you a scholarship.
Man,
do the math. Do the math. And you know what I mean. But you know these parents, you got the new. I call them the newbies. They got all the answers, know everything. They not even played themselves, but they can tell. They know all the rules. They know everything. And you know you want to tell me, well he's too old now, or it's time to change. It's not, the fundamentals stay the same.
And so does relationships, because coaching is relationships. If I'm a college coach and I'm giving your child a scholarship, I need to have a relationship with the kid so I know that the kid not gonna get me fired.
No, listen, I don't. I only use names when I know the names are not going to be hurt by somebody. I'm gonna hurt them. But like people say, they're so crazy with social media now. Who following? How many followers he got? How many? I barely know how to turn on my new phone. But I do know this: I can be sitting at breakfast and with my daughter and Don Staley will call or those are the personal relationships. I don't have to have anybody follow me on Facebook.
Right.
I don't have to have anybody follow me on social media. You don't need those things. Like you said, the relationships I've developed over the years, I can make a phone call and it's not about getting somebody a scholarship, but at least they are aware of them. Yes. Like I can find out where they're going. I say, hey, look at this kid, look at that kid. But the one thing I won't do is ever lie.
Oh, I'm not lying.
About a kid to a coach, because I can't send a kid to a school and that coach come back and tell me, Merriweather, you didn't tell me this or that about the kid.
This kid didn't show up to workouts, or this kid don't go to class, or this kid's character ain't where it needs to be. Now my locker room is a mess. You didn't tell me that this kid can, it don't have nothing to do with actually basketball. Because they got eyes too, right? It's the other things. Like you said, I'm not lying for nobody. I got to go to heaven for me.
Well, all I know is that down with the NIL, and again, having daughters in this profession, so you now have this NIL. You may have somebody from a city want that kid to be on your team in the city. This is, usually Chicago or something that wanted to. And so there's money there for that kid to go. Well, that coach may not even, I won't say not want that kid, but it may not be that top choice. But the people want the kid.
Yes.
The community wants that kid at that school.
Right.
Well, the only problem with that now is, okay, so you got a player, but if you lose, you're responsible.
Yes.
You're not responsible for the money, but you're responsible for winning.
Yes.
So now you've got a player or players so that's why you have coaches like stepping out.
Walking away.
Hey, I mean, and the older ones are going, then they say, well, the older ones have always done it, and now everybody's equal to them. No, you're really messing up the game now.
Yeah.
But like I say, everybody's got their own reason. Whether you watch a game, like I said, I've been teaching kids how to play this game for the longest. I did a Facebook post.
So don't get me started on Facebook. That's a scary place right now.
Well, I know it's my playground. I love it.
It's a scary place right now.
I love it. It's my playground. But I just did one. And you talking about at Shari Eli, Miss Basketball, Amber Harris, Miss Basketball, Shea Phillips, back-to-back Miss Basketball. Then you jump to Skylar Diggins, Miss Basketball. Yes. And, the thing about it is those kids understood that they had to work harder, that social media didn't get them. I mean, but now, all my players are going, now even back to my daughter, said, Daddy, just thinking we'd have played with NIL, we wouldn't even have to have jobs. We're that good. We wouldn't have had to have jobs.
But they put in the work, though.
Yeah, they did. They put in the work.
And the names of those young ladies that you dropped, their families didn't shy their kids away from adversity. Their families embraced what it took to get to that next level. And I feel like right now we have an opportunity to get back to that. You know what I mean? By giving knowledge to families, by giving knowledge to coaches, by giving knowledge to players that this is actually what it takes to get what you say you want. Yeah. This is the sacrifice it takes to what you say you want. So this is what I would ask you. What wisdom can you give our parents right now how to navigate getting their child or supporting their child get from the position they are now as a high school player or incoming high school player into playing at the next level? What wisdom would you give them?
Well, first of all, you got to have, and I use the name family, but you got to have a group of people you trust, and it has to be and knowledgeable. You know, a lot of people talk and don't really have anything behind the talk. There's no knowledge there. You got to have that. You've got to be willing to put in the time. Again, those kids I just mentioned to you, those women, were no cell phones to distract them. And understand, I'll go all the way back to, I grew up with George. My father raised George Gervin, basically. I met George when I was 8, 9 years old. We go to the gym and shoot. George shoot 700, I shoot 300. And my father come back and get us, gave us keys. We had to go to work. We played. Wasn't no phones to distract. So now, though, I get on these kids, but you still have to sort of adapt. There's two words that you use. Either you evolve, there's two different. To evolve takes a longer time.
Yeah.
To adapt, you have to adapt quickly.
Yeah.
So, people who want to go the evolution way know that by the time you get there, it's going to be too late.
I've been telling my kids it's okay to be on your phone if you're using it to help you get where you say you want to go. And now, since we got NIL, you should be using it to for your social media to represent the right way, build your YouTube page, but you should be recording your workouts. So you should be recording the work you're putting in.
So we have some questions back here. You want a kid to average 10 points a game and got 1,000 followers, or you want a kid that averages 25 points a game only got 500 followers?
I'll take the 500 followers.
Yeah, but that's not what NIL wants.
Yeah, I feel that.
NIL wants to win. So I'm just saying.
I'll take the 500
again,
followers.
going back to college, you can really get some kids that can't play.
Right.
Because
they got to follow.
But you got to win with them.
Because they got yes.
Yeah. So but no, it's interesting, and I have adapted to that part of it. I still get on them about what. As soon as you get done with a drill, they want to go jump on their phone. Now, I'm not a school coach. As a school coach, that's an absolute no-no. As a summer coach, somebody go my kids now go or the older ones say, boy, you didn't got soft. I said, I'm a pawpaw now. I can do what I do. but they said no. But, there's a kid, again, I don't use names. There's a really good 8th grader running around here and middle schooler, 8th grade, and I found out that I knew the mom, and she reminded me, Coach Merriweather, I used to come to your workouts, and she said, man, you was killing her. I couldn't do that. And she said, but look where it got you. Look where your child is. It's because of those things that made you good. And I think every time, from parent to grandparent, you get a little softer. But I still understand what it takes. Though, again, going back to the name, just those 4 names that I mentioned.
Yeah.
They were literally, people might disagree, but they would literally destroy the kids now. Tashia Phillips. What player do you know in Indiana that could stop Tashia Phillips right now? She was like that in high school.
I don't know any.
That's why she won a state title at Brebeuf, 2 of them.
Yeah.
Amber Harris might have been the most gifted player to put her hands on a basketball. Now you see Amber. Now you go oh, she wasn't that good. Amber Harris was dunking the ball entering North Central.
Amber was
she
good.
She has 2 state championships. Skylar Diggins is still playing.
Yeah.
She's still playing after all these years. And Shire Eli was just different. And the thing about Shire came along when I was actually teaching Trina to play.
Okay.
So Shire got everything Trina got, and then took that athleticism and took it to another level, which again, here we are with the athleticism part. There are some players who will peak out. You don't think physically you peak out. You just can't get any stronger, any faster before you plateau, and then you come back down.
Some are peaking in middle school, Coach.
Well, that's because they've been pushing. They've been they're being pushed too hard. Mm-hmm. They're playing too many games. As an educator, do you test a kid every week?
No.
Do you give an essay? Do you give a test every week? No.
No.
You study, you practice, you take practice tests to correct what's wrong. When you put a kid in a situation where they where they can't make mistakes, and you put that mental pressure, you see the numbers. Why are girls down 39%?
Oh, it's dying.
Well, because I'm telling you, you're burning them out, and you can't make people understand that.
And that compiled with the social media and the approval of other people, the likes
Hey,
and the shares and the followers, they have a fear of disapproving people. They have a fear of letting the
no,
parent down.
letting parent,
You
yeah.
know?
Every child wants their parent to be proud of them,
Yes.
and
Yes.
but then the parent compares them to somebody else. Quit comparing
Oh
your child to another child.
man, I was talking to my friend Coach Mitchell the other day about, oh my goodness, we call it I call it the disease of left and right. You're so busy looking at what she got and what they got and what offers they got that you end up tripping over a flat surface that's right in front of you. And you
I,
just run your own race. You said it earlier. Just
yeah.
focus on your path.
Hey, one of your fellow coaches out here said, you know, you looking at somebody else's plate while your food get cold. and, they want to mind, and I said, that's a good one.
That's great. Yes.
That's a good one. While you looking on somebody else's plate, your food getting cold. Or in the summertime, I want that kid over there. I want that kid over there to play.
Yeah.
But don't leave your home unguarded. Because while you over there doing that, in your league, because the first thing they want to say is, they stealing players.
Well, I know the best thing, the biggest thing that you have come from you is the 3 words. You said teaching, you said family, and you said time.
Yeah.
As coaches right now, in the coaching culture right now, there isn't a lot of teaching going on. The development is falling off, even at the high school level. Yeah. We would rather poach from each other than develop what you already have. Like you said, you're looking at somebody else's plate. But my focus has been developing where I am. I want to coach the kids that I have. You know what I mean? But it's a lot of people not doing that.
And again, these are so many things. You tell kids, you can learn from everybody you have. You learn from every camp, every coach, but you still have to do what fits you.
Yeah.
Like, even with the training part, you just can't teach. You can teach every kid you got the same thing, but it's not going to look the same way with each kid.
No, because
what works for this kid
ain't going to work for that kid.
Yeah, and so, but you go to the same trainer, and then they're limited because of what they're teaching. I mean, like I said, you break down. I've forgotten more than, and I say this than probably most people know. I have to get back into a mode to remember all the things that I used to do. I mean, there's not enough time.
Mm-hmm.
There's not enough time. I could do 8-hour days and not do the same thing twice.
Yeah.
But then also my daughter says, Daddy, you go Russian. She said, you like a Russian. You do one thing 100 times.
Brina said that to us. She said, she told us a story. Man, what did she say? She said, you would make her do the same drill over and over and over until she would be upset about, like physically upset about it. And she said, but she needed that.
Well, again, so the philosophy is you don't do it till you get it right. You do it till you don't do it wrong.
She said that.
No, they carry it on. No, they probably do.
Yeah.
Like, I love to go to their workouts and watch the same thing. You can only teach the game so many ways.
Yeah.
We ain't
reinventing it.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I'm really against layups off the wrong leg. And you stop and think of the 3 players who do it. Each one of those players make for it. No, I think more of a Harden or a Westbrook or a Irvin. But they have to understand, why are they shooting a layup off the wrong leg? Because they're going against the greatest shot blockers in the game.
Right.
So a shot blocker times your steps.
Mm-hmm.
So those layups are what you call off-step layups. Yep. So what it does, it gives them a split second to get that shot off before the blocker
can gather,
see what's going on.
Yeah.
So, but it's okay. But how many games have you watched a kid try to go in full speed and shoot that layup and make it? No, I've seen a lot of games lost because that. And I can think of one in particular that happened years ago at a college. One of our colleges here in Indiana, that layup cost them going to the Elite 8 or Final Four. That layup alone was at the end of the game, wide open, but going full speed, and bounce, this went off.
Man.
And now again, they may have went the right leg and made it, but it looked, as you tell somebody, a kid something, and when they make it going against what you say, look back, see, Coach, I can still do it. But that time it don't work.
Hey,
You get to go like, excuse me.
this is
You-
why I
you did
said
that?
this is why you get it with girls too, but you get it a lot with guys. With guys, we're egotistical. So coach say lay it up, but you'd be like, coach, I can dunk it though. But when somebody nobody's guarding you right now. When somebody's coming at you,
But that off leg layup, go tell them to dunk it that way. You know how hard it is to dunk the ball. Try dunking the ball off of that layup, off of that same leg.
You gonna tear up something.
And for girls, because of the ACL injuries and things, that layup also causes you to land awkwardly.
Yes. Yep.
And like faced with the shoes and things that we're wearing now, that the evolution of going from high tops to low tops, and now all of a sudden you've got, it doesn't really help. It's a tape job or ankle brace, which one you want. But the science part of that is if you lock down one joint, puts pressure on the next joint.
Yeah.
So if everything is not moving or working, flowing, then you're gonna have an injury.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't predict. You can get out of bed and have an injury. When you get our age, time you get up, something hurt different, get injured.
Well, you kind of alluded to one of my questions that I ask every guest is who was that impact coach or person in your life that pushed you towards the game? And you talked about your father, the relationships that he had.
I go back. See, I'm a little different than most. I go back. You have to go back to a whole family of players in 1955.
Come on, talk about it.
And you have to understand that, you go back to the history of why Christmas Addicts was built. And then they became the first all-black school in the country to win a state title.
Mm-hmm.
And you're born in that era. Nothing's really changed from that era. I use the example of water. You know how hard that we fought, or blacks had the fight to drink out of the same water fountain, right?
Mm-hmm.
We fought water fountain. They didn't want nobody to drink the same water fountain. Guess what? Now we have bottled water.
Yeah.
Something that God put on this earth, water. But you know what? You ain't got to share it. You ain't got to share that individual bottle. And you're getting charged for it. I mean, come on now. So let's talk about, so there ain't no water fountain. All of a sudden now all the water that come out the water fountain is bad. And we drank out of water hoses.
Oh, that's the best water.
Yeah, but now.
Don't need no hole, just straight from the spigot.
But now all of a sudden all the plastic that the water in is killing us.
Yeah.
But the point of being how has racism really changed? They don't want to drink out the same water fountain as you, so we just go. Somebody went later, well, we just give everybody their individual bottle of water, so we ain't got to drink out the same. You got to share it. You got to do anything with it. So so going back to 55, and then you come through, and you said impact. You come through there. Then I had Mr. James Whistler and Rodney Clark in middle school. Okay. I had my tabs guys, were all the guys I knew there. But those are my teachers and coaches. Mr. Whistler probably has much to do with me wanting to major in science. My dad was a science major at Purdue. Mr. Whistler came, then it was Mr. Clark. I always wanted to shoot as good as Mr. Clark because he could shoot the ball. And so I just want to stay out of school and shoot it. But I also, like I said, I shot with George Gervin. George Gervin is probably the greatest influence on me, my knowledge of offense.
Really?
George taught me, like, I was just, when I teach, that just watch. He told me when somebody was going to shoot. Watch their body movement. Watch this. Watch how they release the ball. There's a player, Robert Reed. I'll use his name. And Robert, and he said, watch him. When he goes left, when he goes right, when he goes one way, he shakes in the air. And so I started watching it. He does. Nobody can break down an offensive player like George Gervin. No one. George Gervin can tell you everything there is about an offensive player and what to expect, how to do them. And I try, so when I have my kids, so when I do teaching, I don't like one-on-one because one-on-one is not how the game is played.
Right.
If you're working with a player, when you saw this dribbling, this is another, what do you do when there's a weak, how do you set up situations where you're getting double team, triple team? Mm-hmm. Like I watched a kid, I had a kid in the game that did all the dribble drills and 3 players got on her and 3 players touched the ball and she didn't. I'm like, no, we can't do that. and so, but no, so you go back to explaining why. You can't, so many people will tell, trainers will say, do it like this. Girls are different. You got to tell them why
they
do it like this.
Yes, yep.
Again, different examples I use. I tell them, I said, take a guy, I can tell the guy to teach the guy to run through that wall like a Marine. A girl will go like, there's a door right there.
Mm-hmm.
Can I just go through the door, get to the other side?
Yep.
Why I got to go through the wall? Difference
She needs to know
teaching
why.
with them.
Yep.
So you go back. So, George Gervin is probably my biggest. And again, like the Euro step. My dad taught me a Euro step at 10 years old. It's just been called different. And different. Now you change the name of something. It's the same thing. Oscar Robertson and all them, they go back and watch their film. They did the Euro step. They did these things. All of a sudden they knew. They just called it Euro. Now some of them now is really Euro because they travel. They go around the world. They go, shit, it's Euro, all right. Yeah, they go around the world. But yeah, and then after that, I was a ball boy for the Pacers, so I got to run into a lot of NBA coaches. Dale Harris, which is Plainfield, Indiana here.
Yes.
But probably the greatest coach that I had the most that influenced me in my coaching would be Larry Brown.
Larry Brown. Okay.
And so, and it's funny when Larry Brown got on staff at Memphis, where Trina was. I went and saw Larry, and he said, I brought Trina in with me. I said, you remember my daughter? Because Trina was I had Trina at 18, so she's almost more like the little sister more than a daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Larry said, that's that little girl. And Trina said, Daddy, why you tell him that? Because now we just talk basketball. Every time he see me, I said, baby, Larry Brown taught me so much. Larry Brown told me that when I go into a practice, I may have something written down. He said, I look at my players' eyes when I see them and I watch them. He said, I tear up that paper. He said, then I adjust my practices to my players.
Yeah.
So probably if I were to ever get interviewed and they say, well, do me a practice, write me up a practice plan. Okay, I'll write it up. I mean, I'm going to follow it.
Yeah. Oh, man.
It's like a lesson plan for a teacher.
Yeah.
Which I always got in trouble for as a teacher because people say, well, you got to have some lesson plans. And, okay. And that's why I didn't like teaching because I had 4 classes, inevitably somebody got learned something different in one class because I was a free spirit. I may have taught this person this, we came up with a discussion, this class. And so then when I do a test, now I have to think back to
what did we cover?
And so that means that now my test has to change because I have to be fair to everybody because somebody would tell me, well, Coach, we didn't talk about that in class. And I go like, yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's the part of the teaching part. But then, like I said, I consider Larry Brown one of the best at it. And his record, said so. But again, so if I talk about those coaches like that, I don't base it. You base it on wins and losses because you're measured. Yeah. Everything is measured by wins and losses. But I don't. I look at it as winning and learning.
Yeah.
I don't look at my L as losses. So somebody said, well, you lost all your games. You know what? We were the first team to win Nike Nationals in 2005. Then I had a team and we lost every game, but the player on that team wound up being the leading scorer when they started keeping stats. She's the leading scorer for the whole tournament. She wound up having an All-American career and she's a WNBA player. So it wasn't about winning and losing. She as an individual player could play. And so sometimes you can be the best player. And I'm not telling you to always put your kid on the worst team so that they can be the best player.
Right.
But they're going to learn more from learning how to carry a team and the responsibility
teaming up,
of carrying a team. So then, because when they get to college, now they're put together with the best player from a lot of teams.
Right.
Now where is he going to fall into it?
Yes.
And so, there's just so much life learning from it.
I wish people would have that mentality now where I say, I want you to look at your kid as a sea turtle. And for a sea turtle to develop and survive in the ocean, they have to go through a gauntlet of things like predators and dunes and rocks and all these things to get from the nest to the ocean.
Right.
What our society, my generation, I would say my generation, I'm 41. Okay. What we like to do is we like to move obstacles for our kids so they got a straight path with no curves and no ups and downs and it's smooth sailing. Yeah. But when they actually hit a current in the actual real world, they don't know how to respond to that because they had nothing to prepare their muscles to get there. Right. So just like you're saying, man, if we had that mindset to allow them to develop in the space that they already in, regardless of if you were the top player or you got to work where you at, instead of just let's go find the easiest path for my kids so they can get recognized or they don't have to work as hard or they got somebody to help them, they will be better off. Look at your daughters. They're coaching in the Power 4 school.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Both of their careers had different paths. They both end up in a successful position. But their foundation, their family, the work that they put in, the leadership that they had helped them get there. And you ain't cut no corners.
No, they're 13, 14 years apart. And the oldest one was always coached by school coaches. And she had me in the summer. The youngest one had me as a school coach. And then I let her be coached by others in the summer with me. So, again, they did have different paths. And they had to adapt differently to those paths. And they did.
Yeah. But they was prepared for it.
Oh yeah, without preparation, you're not going to succeed.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to prepare.
Yeah.
And that's just how it is. And you're right. Everybody, we're in a right here, right now society. We want everything right here, right now. We want to point the finger at somebody else who why I didn't get it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say this. Like you said, I've done this 41 years. I've had many teams. And, it's kind of funny that your players back then, when you thought everything was okay, now are adults. And you hear stories like, oh, he catered to her. Or, and that's why. I mean, like I tell everybody right now, if I had all the daughters of all the players who played for me, they would form great teams. But I got kids all over the place, which is fine. And they have to make that decision on their own. But I have a lot of players. I've heard that, and it's disappointing because I always thought I treated them the same. I thought everybody got the opportunity to get what everybody got. But for some reason,
I'll tell you this.
People always
ask you to tell them the truth. Or be straight up with them and be fair with them. And when you are, and it's not what they expected it to be or to hear or to feel like, then you become the bad guy. But I would rather you be upset at me for telling you the honest truth and being right with you, just with you, fair with you, than me lie to you and tell you that you're the brightest thing since the sun, And then I got to answer to him for that. You know what I mean? So
there's two. Right now, I mean, we talk about the question. You talking about honestly, there's just too many teams and not enough players.
That's true.
So you're not going to have but one or two.
Yeah, especially at AAU.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. School, you have a limited number of schools. And kids can move, but in the summertime, there's just so many teams. I mean, how can you be? You have a list of the top. You have a list of the top 20 kids in this tournament. But there's 5 or 6 other tournaments of the list of the top 20 teams. You tell me I'm the 5th ranked player in my state. 5th ranked. Okay. There's 50 states.
Yes.
So you might put the top 5 from all those states, and now you went from the top 5 to 245.
Yeah.
Now you're the 245th. But I learned that I'm telling you, I don't tell kids and parents anything I haven't experienced. And I use those numbers because I graduated. I mean, at Northwest, we had more kids. I was the highest ranked on my team as for the academics. Got to Addicts, it went even higher. But when I got to Purdue, I went from being like in the top 5% to like the lower because now I'm running against everybody else in the country. I'm not as smart as I think I am.
Right.
And you get terrified when you take your first science test and you get 30%. And now you want to drop the class, want to quit, and you find out that the high was 37%. You go like, I did good, but I'm ready to quit.
Yeah.
I ain't never got 30% on the test. Or 15%, it was a C. And I'm going like, so you have to deal, but a lot of people don't understand statistics.
Yeah.
They don't understand the statistics. When you tell them that that 1 in a million, well, you can't take away my dream. I might be that one of that million. You might be.
Man.
But that 999,000,
it's got a good probability. It's got a good chance of being right.
That's right. And so you do that. And, and I learned from everybody. And, after meeting you and Coach Stacey Warren, Coach Stacey Warren said something to me one time. He said, Coach, people want what they want. I said, that was the most profound statement that anybody has ever given me. Because every time I stop to think about something, He said, yeah. They don't care how they get it, who it hurts or whatever. He said, that's as a kid coach. People want what they want.
Yeah.
And I said, okay. And I had to adapt that into my thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And there's so many more. Like I said about the plate. Look on my plate while your plate gonna get cold while you watching mine.
Yes.
And I don't know. I just think that there's the word respect comes out. You have to respect one another. With this NIL and the transfer portal, our coaches have to respect one another.
Right.
You have to respect. There ain't nothing to hide, ain't nothing to sneak, ain't nothing to steal. Just respect each other.
Yeah.
If a kid wants to transfer, hey, then let it be known. Because I don't want to. If you don't want to be a part of my family,
I'm not the coach for everybody.
No, if you don't want to be a part of my family, you welcome to go get another family.
Yeah.
But right now, every team got family on their shirt. Now I walk around now and see I'm going
sisterhood.
Like,
you see that a lot too. Don't you?
I see the sisterhood.
Yeah, I know you see that a lot.
I see the sisterhood. I see the family. Like people don't realize the Ubuntu. Ubuntu is UBUNTU. People have seen that.
I know,
and not know what it is,
what it even means.
Yeah, and it's an African proverb about there was some.
It means I am great because you are great.
Yeah, but it came from the fact that some Europeans came into the African tribe and they put things out. They hid things, and they told them, "You go out and whatever you get is yours." Well, rather than go out as individuals, they went out as a team, and they found more things as a team. So I am who I am because of you.
Right,
is what that means, and so that's where that came from. And that's what I do. I read about. I don't like books, but I read a lot about different things, and I take for people. I mean, I like people take. You don't reinvent things.
No,
but I take things that have to do with what I do, and I will incorporate it into what I do. And mine may have a different meaning. And I mean, that's just the way I've always been that way.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm all about bringing it all together. And it's just everybody's not on that page.
No, not at all.
Everybody on that page.
Not
So, but like I said, we can talk. You can break it down to individual things. And so one of the last things I want to talk about me in my life and a story.
I was going to say, I need some stories. I know you got at least one. I need something.
I'm going to tell you why I'm the way I am. Honestly, a big part. So in '86, I told you I worked with the NBA with my father and Phoenix Suns, and they had a scandal out there. Everything I say to you can Google. They had a scandal out there in '86, '87, called the white powder, whatever they did. But anyway, I was caught up in that, and I was indicted, and I had to, which again, everything I say, look up. Didn't do anything. I knew I didn't, but that's not what they thought.
Right.
So then we were supposed to go to court on a Monday, August 17th.
Know the date?
Oh yeah, I have to. I'm tell you why I know the date. My daughter's birthday is August 14th. Same as Magic Johnson. He used to wish her happy birthday and things. And so I came in. I was driving a Bronco that belonged to. It was Magic's Bronco. William Bedford was going to buy it. I drove it into the city, but I was supposed to take the Bronco to Detroit. So I get home. My daughter's birthday is on the 14th. I get a call on that Friday around 4-ish from the strength and conditioning coach and said, hey, Merriweather, your case got dropped. Really? I said, my attorney hadn't said anything to me about it. So I said, well, let me get off the phone. It's 4 o'clock. He leaves every day about before 4:30 out the office Friday. I said, let me call him. So I got off the phone. I call him about 4:10. Phone ring. I said, hey. He asked, I said, hey, it's Merriweather. He said, Merriweather, what's going on? I said, my case get dropped? How'd you know? I said, hey, don't worry about how I know. Did my case get dropped? It was in the paper. He said, because I wasn't there and he knew it. He said, yeah, it did. Because now I remember I was supposed to drive this Bronco to Detroit and fly out of Detroit. So I said, okay, I don't have to come. No, but I thought you might want to come because the other players who were in trouble, you might want to see what happens with them. They're your friends. I said, okay. So I thought about it. So Saturday, I said, call my father. I said, hey, my case, I told him then it got dropped. And I said, do I have to go back out there? So we got your plane flight and everything. He said, we'll lose the money for it. I said, okay, well, I'll probably go then. Saturday, something, you talking about God, faith, and everything.
Oh, yes, yeah.
He said, I said, I don't want to go. I was Trina's birthday and everything.
Right.
And I said, I called him and said, I'm not going to go. He said, okay. So he said, we'll just lose that money. He kept talking about money. I said, okay, we're losing money. And so I said, okay. So
he being a father. He being a father.
He being a father. My father, if you knew my daddy, hey, about money there. He's the one that told me there's two ways to measure success: by the material things you have or by the legacy you leave behind. I've chosen the legacy.
Yes.
So anyway, he says that, now don't come down, I don't want money, but I let the legacy. So anyway, Sunday I go to sleep. I wake up Sunday. I look at the television. Across the TV screen, Northwest Flight 255 crashes across I-94. Yeah, that's my flight. I'm looking at my paperwork laid out in front of me. That's my flight. That's my flight. And I said,
I don't care what, that's nothing but God.
And I said, the only person that made it out of that flight was a 4-year-old. And we're going to have the 39th year, so that means she's going to be about 43 now. They'll have something about her. Well, I think she got her degree in psychology, but she lost her parents. But on that flight also was a 7'1" player for the center named Nick Carothers. They found him, so it'd be graphic on our TV, but they found him in 3 pieces. And so I was supposed to be on that flight. So I have this thing was God left me here for a reason.
Yeah.
And so what people say don't bother me.
Not at all.
I worked in the Marion County Jail for 2 years. I grew up, as I try to tell our kids, I grew up in the same neighborhood as you did. But when it's time for you to go, you're going to go. People get on me about working out. Go out there and work out every day, run 5 miles, and the next day, where that guy that ran 5 miles?
Yeah.
He died.
Yeah.
So we only got so many heartbeats.
Right.
And we don't know how many heartbeats those are. We don't know when our time is going to come. I do what I do because of those reasons. I felt now that it's a calling and it's my ministry. And so what people say about me means absolutely, you're wasting your time and breath.
Yeah.
Being negative about me when I've done nothing but help children.
Yeah.
That's all I've ever done. And I'm not perfect. Yeah, I've done wrong.
No,
I've done everybody. I'm still human.
The Bible says we all sinners, man. We had to ask for repentance. We got to repent, ask for grace.
I heard something? But I tell you, but then too, I'm I'm not Martin Luther King. I'm more like Malcolm X. I'm not gonna turn the other cheek. you hit me, I'm gonna hit you back. And so I had a run in with an English teacher in Northwest like that. She said, "You talking about you?" She's the one that said it. She said, "I used to always talk about Martin. I love Martin Luther King. Love this everything." She said, "You are not like Martin Luther King. You are like Malcolm X." And I said, when she said that right then, I said, "Okay, then I'm going to accept that. If that means that I'm not going to get slapped and turn the other cheek, you're not going to slap me and think I'm not going to slap you back." So anyway, those are the things. That's what makes me who I am. But I just wanted to tell that story because a lot of people don't know that story. And I'm not afraid. 39 years now, it is past.
But it's powerful.
And people still ask me about that. When the last dance was going on, I was 2-stepping because my dad was with those players. You talk about Isaiah and all those guys. I just wish Isaiah happy birthday, and I hear about him being sick and stuff. Mark McGuire, I coached his daughter. Out of Chicago. I coached Mark's daughter. So and I started with all the guys that I grew up with. I had their daughters, Derek Johnson, Mo Dawson. Those are the greatest players. Dust Bowl players that came through.
They're all Dust Bowl legends.
Yes. So I have have their daughters, and so if people want to keep wasting their time doing this, waste your time.
Well, we don't live.
And I'll play with you though too, because I like Facebook.
Well, we don't live our lives to please men.
No.
Our job is to please God. It's to seek you first the kingdom of heaven, and all these things will be added unto you. That does not mean persecution will not come. Does not mean it will not come, but God gave us armor. It says put on the whole armor of God. You know what I mean? He
gave me karma. So that's pretty much, I pass that on to you.
Now that's a blessing though, man. That's a story that I will never forget. A lot of people,
and I don't tell it until it gets to, like I said, I like one-on-one conversation. We just happen now it can go out more.
Yeah,
And
this gonna help a lot of people.
And people can go back and try to record it, and they'll type it in and go like, he telling the truth.
Yes.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
I was.
Yeah.
And or I am. And so, but oh no, I've been blessed.
Yeah.
I've had a great life. I've done so many things. I've been around owners of teams. I've been in part of negotiations with players. I've helped written, like $1 million contracts.
Yeah.
And now you can look at, I don't have anything. You want materially to show for it, but the stories, the legacy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hate when dementia hits, selective dementia.
No. We need the book. We need book series. Yeah. We need those stories, because the knowledge that you have, you can pass to the next generation of coaches. You can help inform the next generation of parents, the current players.
Right.
You know what I mean? So okay, here's a question for you.
Yep.
You have coached for 41 years.
Mm-hmm.
You understand the changes that have happened from when you started to what it is now.
Right.
What is your advice to a coach getting into the game or currently coaching? Because we supposed to always learn as a coach. You never stop evolving. You never stop growing. What is your advice? Give me some advice. I'm taking it as a coach. How do we navigate where we are right now with the game of basketball?
Okay. Again, from coach to player, you have to understand your players, where they come from. I jokingly tell my players every time I meet with players and parents, I say, first thing I tell the girls, I tell the mothers, they're just younger versions of you. They all look at me like, okay. So again, know your player, know the game, know the game, and I don't mean you learn the game. Everybody hasn't played the game, but that doesn't mean that every great player, every great coach has been a player either. Never put yourself in their shoes. Why? I have a new thing that I adopt different philosophies as I go. It's like I understand, I just don't agree. I try to put myself in everybody's shoes that I understand why they did this. Doesn't mean that I agree with what you did.
I may not have done what you did to get to where you're going, but I understand what your reasoning.
I understand why you did it. And I think if everybody feels that you understand them, again, you're not going to satisfy everybody.
Nope.
So that's it. When I have like I heard you say something earlier, that when I'm not at my practice, I try to teach my players to be coaches or teachers.
Yeah.
So that if I'm not there and a principal comes into my practice, it's being ran like I'm there. Like the principal's looking around to see where I am, because it's so organized and structured that they're doing it just like it. And I get on my kids now. You walk in, you let them go in the gym, you go there, and you go in there, and they on their phones.
No structure.
You haven't worked out. You haven't warmed up.
Yep.
Then you won't get mad because now I make you get off your phone. It's time to warm up.
Yeah.
You have been given the instructions. You've been given what to do. So again, practices should be ran the same way whether you're there or not. Again, the biggest thing is always, and this is life, the best. Try to put yourselves in their shoes. What would you have done? Why are they acting this way? Our kids now have so much on their plate.
Yeah,
from home,
trauma,
from home that we have to deal.
Yeah, and you got to coach them. Then you got to coach them.
Yes,
you might be the only structure that they have in their whole entire life. You might be the only Jesus they ever see. You might be the only love that they got all day.
So when I say there's different things that I adapt, the one I do now is I get so tired of hearing it starts at home. It starts at home. That's where I said, okay, what if it ain't at home to start?
Yeah, you just got to start with you.
I mean, but if it's not in your house, your kids ain't gonna get it.
No.
So now the problem falls on the educators and the coaches, or the other people who deal with their kid. I mean, I'm just saying, it's not at home. Yeah. If it's not, nothing can start if it's not there. How can a parent be a parent if they don't know how to be a parent?
Agreed.
And some of them have to learn on the fly.
Yes.
But that don't mean they're going to get it right. And those who know everything don't get it right. They always say, two kids will be raised up in the same home, same rules, same everything, and they come out totally different.
Totally different.
But that you can have some twins, they be raised in totally different environments. Guess what, though? They just alike.
Just alike.
So, you just don't know what's put there. But, if that answer, the answer question, those are the things that I think coaches have to do now, is understanding your parents, your kids. The things I always say, you have to be consistent and fair, and do things in a manner, like be consistent and fair. Kids are like, and again, I'm a biologist. but they're like animals.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all animals.
Yeah.
But if you don't teach a child or an animal when they're young, they'll become wild.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole thing about that is kids can sense when you're fair.
Oh, they're empaths.
Yeah, yes.
They can feel if
and I
if
feel
you're
I
being
was
genuine
born.
or
My
not.
grandmother left that with me. I feel your pain and things that you feel, I feel them.
Yeah.
So when I see when again a kid can feel they're fair. Now, if they're being told they're not fair, which and I've told coaches this when I go on trips. When I first started, it's expensive for a parent, especially not for a parent to get if one parent wants to go to the game, they want to go room. I want my kids to get a college experience. So I want my kids to be in a room together,
Mm-hmm.
maybe with one parent as a chaperone.
Yeah.
But parents want to go like, well, why should I pay for an extra room when my kid can stay with me? Guess what? If you go to bed that night, you and your kid go to bed that night and you don't like me, the next morning when that kid wake up, that kid don't like me either.
Right.
And that is just something that you have, that's it's passed on.
Yeah.
All the way home, that kid, that coach. Your kid might believe in you, but by the time they ride home and they go to bed,
Mm-hmm.
they've been conditioned not to believe in you.
Yeah.
So the next day you see them, I ain't listening to you.
Yep.
My
mom and dad don't believe
or I did something, or a kid do something to get blamed for it. He only did it because it was okay from the parent to do it.
That's very true.
And
how many times you working in school? How many times have you heard someone say, "All right, we're just gonna call home"? They're like, "Okay, call home."
Yeah, I'd be begging.
Yeah.
Listen, when I came through, it was a paddle or call home. Beat me. Beat me. Just beat me. Please don't call home. Just beat me. And then after you don't tell them what I beat me, you let it be over with. I told somebody, like now, going to juvenile became a part where that's a badge of honor. If they locked me in juvenile up as a kid, I'd have still been there till I was grown. Because they said, we're going to call your parent. What parent? Shit, I ain't got no parent. Ain't got no number. Ain't got nothing. I'm going to stay right here until I'm grown. Because I'm not going to tell my parent I got locked up. Nope.
Yeah.
No, I ain't got nothing.
But that discipline from home helped you.
Oh, yeah. It's different now. Yeah, you can say, call my parent. Then the parent will come up. And I used to tell my kids, I ran school suspension. I tell my I'm gonna call my mom and daddy. I was on West Side too, so I know all their parents. Go call them.
Yeah.
Go call your parents. I promise you, when you come back, you're gonna get beat on the way out the door. And so they go home. They say, "Who your teacher?" They describe me. I said, "What's your teacher's name?" Mr. Merriweather. Okay. No, I tell you what, do what he says. And Merriweather, my child do something, you got my permission to whip him. You know what I mean? But that just changed.
Yeah.
It just changed. And so that's where things have evolved into.
So I always do this on the podcast is I would love for you to leave a question for the next coach. So something that you would ask of them to help push the game forward, or something you would ask of them, just your opinion, like how are they navigating A, B, or C?
It's tough.
You want an example?
Yeah, I'll take it.
Okay, so Jason Pruitt, he's assistant coach or associate head coach at Indiana State University.
Okay.
He asked the coaches, what are you doing to help make your roster look like the kingdom of heaven? Because the kingdom of heaven won't just be black folks, won't just be white folks. It'll look like every shade. And what are you doing to give each kid opportunities, no matter who they are, where they come from? That was his question. Now, somebody already answered that question. So
no, that's great. I'm just thinking about what you just said as an example.
Yeah.
The biggest question for any coach is, why do you do it?
Ooh, what's your why?
Yeah. For me, what it is. That's the question I have. Why? I want to know why you're doing it.
Yeah.
Because now you have to be truthful, but if you're gonna the way we're talking.
Yeah.
And so it's always been my thing is, why are you doing this? Like everybody says, I'm doing this for the kid. That's all you hear. I'm doing it for the kid. What are you doing for the kid?
Right.
Why? And so because and that is it. I mean, for me, that's the next and I think that can be asked of every coach who comes.
Yeah.
Why are you doing it?
Yeah.
And you'll get so many answers because nobody's going to answer it the same.
No. Oh no.
But it's the same. So my question to ask the next coach it comes here. The next question is, why do you do it?
Why do you do it?
Why do you do it?
Well, Coach, I'm excited to have you, man. I'm so glad we got to do
I
this.
appreciate it. I told him, put me on the mic.
Yeah, we talked about this a while ago.
Put me on the mic.
And then I don't, we don't record during the season because I be locked in, man. But season 2, kicking it off with a bang. Kevin Merriweather. There will be way more opportunities for us to have. Because this ain't gonna be our last time talking. I know it's not. So we're gonna get Coach Merriweather back. We try to get you with Coach Mitchell.
Yeah.
Get the 3 of us.
Yeah, but for me, I love. I have great. You know what? People don't think so. I have relationships with. I have good relationships with all because again, I have them in the summer. I want to be able that when they leave me, they go back to their high school coach better.
Yes. Yeah.
And so I like to know what the high school coach wants them to do.
Yeah.
I do have enough knowledge that I can adjust any practice to whatever a coach wants.
And the family's still going right now.
Oh yeah, it is. It's just not a big family.
Yeah, that's okay.
I don't because I'm probably now the only club that has one team,
gotcha.
And that's because I can do more with the one team. Whether physically I don't do as much as I did. Like people don't realize I was in a boot 2 years because I almost lost my foot.
Really?
Yeah, had diabetic ulcer, and so I don't. Even now they want to do a surgery to shave a bone down. But I'm just saying. Like people don't know people try to make comments about what they see. You don't know anything about me. You don't know enough about me to make a comment.
Yeah.
So, but I'm just saying that now if I could get people with me, I would love for my kids to come back. But I got so many kids out here coaching now. Yeah. I've got Portia Green. I got Showtime. I got. No, Jamel Owens.
I got 2 of yours.
You got
Nia Washington, Kendall Fisher.
Kendall Fisher.
Nia played for you, and she played for me.
You. And
but Kendall was right. That was your last baby at Temple, right?
Yeah. I had Karen Scott Williams. You're talking about 2 kids that scored 2,000 points.
Yes.
They went on to college. Kendall Fisher is still the leading scorer at Lawrence Tech now. Yeah. So
she could be playing right now. I try to get her to keep playing. She like,
I think her bone. I think it caught up with her. Age caught up with Kendall. Just because you little don't mean you can still play forever.
Well, she's doing a great job.
No, that's good. Like I said, and more than wanting to coach now, and I love them. Like I said, I try to teach them as players to be coaches.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's just like being a teacher. When you go through college, and we used to tell everybody for your elective classes, take education classes because can't find a job, you can at least teach.
Yes.
And now teaching is not that bad of a pay. They're actually raising the pay up for teachers. But if you can, these are your seed, your players and the people that are leaving you hope that they're being able to pass it forward.
Right.
Play it forward, pass it forward, pay it forward.
Yeah.
And so I would love for I try to get all my kids to coach.
Yes.
If you don't do any give back in some kind of way, again, some of them become, stuck on the money part and they just don't want to, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But I've got enough of them. I have enough of them out here coaching that I'm finding just right. Short. I mean, I can just go down Latrice Crawford,
yeah. Amber coaches still too.
Amber Harris coaching, Ashley Barlow coach.
Yeah.
And I've got a number of coaching in college. We don't even go down that list. This is what people don't understand. I can make phone calls to my kids at a college, but I'm only going to call them if I think or believe that they're going to fit that system.
Yes.
I'm not just going to call them and pawn off a kid.
No.
So because like I said, I want to match.
We're not the coaches that call for favors because of relationships that we have. We call because this kid genuinely has it, puts in the work, has the character, and can contribute to your program. Yeah. That's what we make the phone calls for.
Yeah, University of Texas with Lindsey Wisdom Hilton, who has Chucky Barnett, who we grew up at Tab together from 10, 11 years old. Odacor, who I call my acre. Who when he just graduated from there, played with me with the Sky Dig team. So, I mean, we have coaches everywhere that you can call. And, me, like I haven't been to the last Final Four because I've been puppy sitting. I had to puppy sit during the Final Four. And then Trina come home and said, Daddy, everybody asked about you. I said, you tell me where I was? Yeah, I told them. So, she said, next year, I think it's in Ohio.
Yes.
So, I mean, I get to go back and forth. I can puppy sit and still go see my friends and see my friends before they, and see them while they're still coaching. But no, I think we wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for kids. I would hope so, that we do this for the kids.
Absolutely. And
you wish parents would understand that more and be more understanding of why we do and what we do. And no, we're not perfect. We're going to make mistakes.
Well, I want to thank you again for coming and partnering with us. We got to get you come back.
Appreciate it.
We want to thank you for joining us. Please make sure you check the show notes. We'll have some information for you how to get in touch with Coach Merriweather.
Yeah.
And how to keep pushing the game forward and being what these kids need first and foremost. So.
I'm available 24/7, 365 when it has to do with these kids in basketball.
All right.
Reach me anytime.
Thank you for joining for Coaching Minutia today. Y'all have a good
Everybody
night.
have a good day.